Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to the the workshop, because I have one now. We're back, and I got another video lined up for you today. Today we are doing a different thing than we've done before. Now, I've talked about it many times, but I've never actually, put it in place to do it. So, what am I talking about? I have talked about a lot of things that I've never done. We are going to be doing a in-depth custom explanation. I was going to say review. We're not reviewing it. But I was going to say review, but technically I did and I didn't. Anyway, today we are going to be going over one of my customs that I've done in the past that I've actually featured on the channel before, and we're going to be talking about how I did it. This is and isn't a how-to. I don't expect you to copy it, and I also don't expect you to listen to nothing sort of thing, Now, I'm going to go over some of the beginner pitfalls because this is going to be the first custom in a 5 custom lineup, all right? So let me show you which one I'm talking about, just so we're all on the same page here, okay? We're going to be talking about this gentleman here today. Put him in the light. Shing, shing, sparkle, sparkle. Anyway, you'll see him more in just a second, but yeah, we're gonna be talking about my high-grade KAMPFER. I call it like Neo Tokyo Stealth, I don't know. But it's my purple, metallic purple KAMPFER, okay? At some point, I said to myself, I'm making really shit customs. And now, while I was the only one that thought that, I genuinely thought to myself that I just wasn't doing the best I could. So, after going back to the drawing board and getting some new paints and shit, I figured out what I wanted to do. So this was the first custom, again, in a series of 5, in which I tested myself to do better than I've ever done before. So without further ado, let's get to taking a look at it, okay? All right, and here is the kit. So this is the Universal Century high grade KAMPFER in 1/144th scale, obviously high grade. So let me try to make this as quick as possible, not because I'm trying to gyp you guys of any information, just because I know attention spans are short. I get that, and I think that getting into it is probably the most important thing, right? Okay, so let's talk about the composition, right? So as you can see here, we have a few different colors going on. Really try to break up the monotony of just the one color. The problem was, at the time, I wasn't very versed in high grade, let's say masking. So you can see that the thrusters on the chest right here are still uncolored, but all the other separated pieces, which actually shows the dynamicism and the actual, technical, not technical, color separation. Let me just skip the stupid stuff and just say color separation. So it's a beautiful kit, and let's go over the colors we used, okay? So I'm going to pause this real quick once it gets around, just because, I never get enough of this. Okay, so I'm gonna put my remote right here, all right? Don't look, you know what? I know you're gonna look at it probably. I'm gonna put it over here then. Okay, so let's take a look at the colors that I used for this fantastic soiree into a more professional type of custom. By the way, shout out Gifted Games in Grays Lake. Love them. This is where I got that playmat. Not sponsored, just again, they're my friends, so yeah. Anyway, let's go over the primers that I used, okay? Now, at the time, I didn't know a lot about a lot of other pre-thinned and not pre-thinned primers. So I kind of just got what some people said was good and some people said was bad. I sound like an idiot. Whatever. Anyway, whenever you're doing any sort of metallic, whether it be the metal purple, the all clads, the splash metallizer, anything that has to do with metal, I always use a gloss black base. Now, I've done videos before comparing bases like this as opposed to flatter bases, okay? Now, the thing you've got to remember is that it's all about shine. So no matter what gloss you use, it's gonna turn out shiny. So you don't have to use black if you don't want to, but I wanted this purple to come out slightly darker. Not muted necessarily, but I wanted this really sinister look. Almost, I actually call him Zerg. I call him Zerg a lot. I wanted it to be almost Zerg-like. So that's why it kind of came out in a darker hue. It was mostly because of using that gloss black as a base. And stuff like All-Clad though covers the black really well, but retains the shine of the gloss. And we'll get into that when we switch gears into the paints, but that's primarily what I'll use for any type of really shiny looking paint, all right? Now, moving on to the, I love doing that. Moving on to the primer for the non-glossy parts, i.e. the black right here. So as you can see, it's a matte black, and I just wanted to do a base that was going to try to keep it as matte as possible. Now, that was a complicated task, kind of for a couple of reasons, but like I said, I'll get into that when we get into the paint section. But for anything that wasn't shiny, I use this. So not a whole lot, but some pieces here and there, and especially for the shotguns up there. So, all right, now that we're done with the primers, let's get into the paints, okay? So we'll start off with most used to least used, okay? So obviously, most used is Hobby Mio's 124 Metal Violet. Now, I absolutely love their metallics. They're fantastic. I mean, there are better brands out there, but this was one that was really beginner friendly. And as you can see, with using it only one time and then a test, it turned out pretty damn good. Not to mention it's a consistent and very, very strong paint. Now, Hobby Mio I've had a few problems with in the past, but their metallics, they really, really perform. I mean, I think a lot of metallic colors perform really, really well, but this one just blew me away. So yeah, that's actually one of my favorite paints. I should use that more. All right, second most used is going to be Hobby Mio's Glossy Black. I'm sorry, I'm a messy painter, but that is 002. Now, when I said there was complications in keeping the black matte, this is kind of what I meant, okay? I don't have a normal black. I have over 60 something paints and I don't have a normal black. That's my fault. I kept getting caught up in color shifts and really nice, you know, premium brands and whatnot. I totally skipped the basics. So I have glossy black. Initially, it was gonna be glossy, but then I had a few friends in my Gunpla groups tell me that maybe a juxtaposition between the finishes could add a new depth, a new layer to the kit. That's exactly what I ran with. So as you can see, the matte black just totally cuts apart. You can even see it in there so clearly too. It cuts the metallic part, and I think it just, again, adds that layer of like sinister aura to the kit. Again, I've had problems with Hobby Mio, but this is a color that I did not have problems with. So I would definitely recommend glossy black to anybody, but in this case, I think it worked out really well to clash, and clash in a good way though, with the super shiny color scheme that I had going on with this guy, okay? Okay, and then in terms of most used, that's gonna bring us to All-Clad's iconic, and I do mean iconic. There is no model builder I have met that does not know at least All-Clad's Chrome, ALC 107. So when you want something to look like mirror metal, that's what you go to. I used it on the thruster bells. I actually used a pen for this, but I used it on there, I used it on there. I mean, I used it on all the thrusters, and I think that it's a fantastic color. It's, again, very user-friendly, but to truly get it perfected, you do have to put in some work. In another custom video, you'll actually see the fruits of me practicing with it. But I would say for one of my first applications, I mean serious applications, it turned out fantastic. And now I might be tooting my own horn, but you guys tell me what you think. I mean, I think that it laid down really nicely, and although it's not the ideal top coat, it definitely, I think, panned out really well. So going on to the most used. We have the metallizer from Splash, Burnt Iron. So Burnt Iron has a sort of warm tone to it. And again, I really wanted just constant clashing and juxtaposition, but I wanted it to be tasteful enough where it didn't come off as intrusive. So as you can see here, it does look like normal gunmetal, but when you put gunmetal up to burnt iron, there's a warmness to it that you just don't see with it. But I wanted that warmness to mix with the gold, because gold being a yellow, being a warmer color. So I wanted this dark, cold color scheme, but I wanted some warm bits like the eye and the gold to poke through, and again, clash, clash, clash. And I think that that is what this kit is all about. It's about good clashing. So again, let me know if you guys think that I succeeded in that narrative. I think I do. But on to the next color, which is going to be All Clad's Pale Gold, ALC 108. Now, I do not know about their regular gold. I've only ever used their Pale Gold, and I love it. I mean, there's really nothing to say. It just is fantastic. It lays on, it's a nice yellow, but not too yellow. It's extremely warm, not too shiny, and it looks a lot like brass actually, but a little bit darker. I think that's what I like about it. I like the look of brass, but I didn't want it to be too light. So yeah, and then to finish it off, we had Flaming Red. So Flaming Red was really only used as the accents here on the pumps, but I thought I'd mention it because it was definitely a worthwhile inclusion and something that I wanted to mention because this is actually a color I had problem with. I thought I let it cure all the way, and yet my masking tape still rips some off. This stuff does not hold up the normal colors all that well. But it could have been just me, you know, but I did want to let you know in case there is a legitimate problem that I don't know about. So yeah, that's all the colors that I used. Now, this video is getting near the 10-minute mark, so I did want to tell you about technique, okay? Because that's really what is going to, what's it called? That's what's gonna make something like this come out like this, okay? So I'm gonna be super brief with that, but let's move over to my new airbrush setup so I can show you that. Alrighty, so we're at the airbrush setup. This is the Galeri dual drive system, and I'm gonna be talking about these bad boys in another video, but currently I'm rocking two different airbrushes, the Trigger with a 5.0 needle and the Dual Action Pro, I think, or something like that. And yeah, so we're not here to necessarily talk about what airbrush, but instead really how you use your airbrush. Now, for colors or for primers like this, what you're gonna wanna do is have your pressure about 20 psi, and then when you're doing it, pull back slightly just to get that first bit out and stuff, and put down a tacky kind of matte layer, okay? But after you've completed all that, you're gonna wanna pull back farther and put a nice wet coat of your gloss primer, okay? This will make sure that you do have that nice, super reflective glossy surface. So when you put down your metallics, it retains that really beautiful shine, okay? And then, in fact, you're gonna wanna do the polar opposite for when you're actually applying your metallics. Now, although it differs from paint to paint, All Clad's usually operates by the same principles for each type of paint. Complete opposite to this, what you're gonna wanna do is drop that down to around 15 psi, and then pull back super slowly, okay? So we're gonna turn it on. Okay, so with this one, you have the air coming out. Now you're just going to pull back super slowly just to start getting it out. And then you're going to want to do super thin layers, okay? Thin. Always going over it with, again, super thin layers. And as you build those layers up, that metallic coat will start to, what's it called? Manifest? I don't know. Sounds like a weird way to say it. But that's how I got my metallic finish to look like this on this kit. Is those really razor thin coats and just building, especially on the chrome. Now Now some paints, like the gold and a little bit on this purple, you can kind of, layer it and layer it, but that chrome, that's one that you're gonna want to like really take your time on, okay? And trust me, the results are gonna be 100% worth it. Just have that patience and I promise it will turn out, okay? All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all about anything I mentioned in this video, please drop it in the comments and I will try to reply as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching and I love you guys. Have a great day and have fun building, builders. I don't know if that's what I say, but bye.